Good morning, Deacon, and the rest of the internet. Today is Thursday, July 28th, and Deacon and I'm sorry, Deacon's voice is below me, Deacon's other voice is below me, and I'm not Deacon, and that's not Deacon either. But we are your two dads. I'm JJW. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine on your phone.
Excellent. How is everybody going? Or how's everybody doing?
Well, in the last 24 hours, I would say not the best. I have been in a car accident.
What?
So,
Are you?
Yeah.
Is everybody okay?
It was just me in the car, and I'm
Thank
fine.
goodness. All right.
I was driving on the toll, coming on home, but it's a little rainy, a little slippy, and I got back-ended. I got my trunk punked. I got into a fender bending. My car's pronouns are he, him, so it's a fender bend him.
My cars have always been girls.
Oh,
They're always girls. Sometimes you gotta rub her a little bit, rubber dash just a little bit.
All right.
Her dash, the steering wheel.
So my So I have I had to start the claims process, and I'll get a call later today, and then the other driver will get confirmed, and then you know how it is. You get into a car accident, it's just I mean, are they going to fix it? Are they going to total my car because the amount of the damage is more than the car? I don't know. And then I had to buy another car.
We in America have such a simplified insurance system for health and cars and all kinds of stuff that it shouldn't be a huge hassle with you to get this at all. He said sarcastically.
That slightly reminds me of a time probably about 10 years ago when I was in a car accident. Somebody pulled out in front of me while I was going down like a highway, and like I had to hit the car. I didn't have a choice because there was another car, there was a trailer. They pulled 100% across me and tried to turn in the road. It was some old lady, and then her car was sticking on the road. This was years ago, and like I didn't have a choice. I had to hit her, and it destroyed my car. I guess it destroyed her car too, and they totaled my car. And then I spent literally like weeks trying to find a replacement vehicle and arguing with the insurance company. So that the notion that, for a minor amount of damage, but my car is older, I have a 25-year-old car. So it could take almost no damage for the insurance company to be like, oh, well, that makes this upside down. So, instead we'll give you like $2,000 or something. And I'll be like, MFer, $2,000? Have you seen how much everything is out there right now?
Yeah.
No. So, and in the meantime, I think I have to wire my trunk together because my trunk, they hit me in the back. My trunk has come open and now it won't close. So I had to wire my trunk together or drive around with my trunk flapping like it's a hoopty. It's embarrassing.
The way that, sorry, I'm getting some stuff done in this other room real quick. I'll be back in there. The way that the money crap is going these days, and the way that the recession and all this mess, I understand. It was, I think it was earlier this year. Ashley was driving real slow. She wasn't going very fast at all. It was in the middle of town, and it was the 35, but it was around the college. And I mean, they were going really slow because this woman in front of her was turning, and the woman, I guess, slammed on her brakes really hard or something. I don't remember what happened. And Ashley just barely hit her. And I don't even think it caused any damage to her car, but it hit the front of Ashley's little car just right to where it bent the frame just a little bit to where the hood sits. And now the hood sits up. It latches, but it sets up. It's not all the way flush with it and stuff. And we started looking to get a new hood, and we were looking to get all this stuff, which it costs a little money. And we were looking around junkyards and whatnot, but we started looking at it, and the dang frame is bent. So it's going to be like like you said, to get this done, it's going to be an extensive amount of work just to bend this frame back, at the top up there where the radiator sits and stuff. So I understand. Yeah, it's kind of setting up, and I've told her a million times, like, we need to get you a new car. We need to get you a new car. And she loves that little car. It's a Toyota Matrix. It's got about 300,000 miles on it, but she absolutely loves it. And we actually happened to find a YouTube channel where this guy is a mechanic. He's a professional mechanic, but his wife has the same year Matrix as Ashley, and he claims, he was like, this is the best car that's ever been made. So all of his YouTube videos are on Ashley's car.
Oh.
So we kind of lucked out on that one. I was like,
right.
Sweet, subscribe and alert.
Yeah, there's been times when I've had, I've had to do work on my cars before, and there's a couple of guys on YouTube where, that's what I would resort to. I would not resort to going to a mechanic most of the time. It would be like, let me find somebody else on the YouTube that has done this particular weird little job and see if I can figure it out. So yeah, I've seen a couple of his YouTube. There's one guy's like Scotty something, and he's a real character. But there's a couple, like automotive YouTube is actually it's a whole own thing. Just automotive, like repair YouTube. It's its own niche little market. So yeah, that's what's going on here. I don't know if anything dramatic is going on over there. So I got a couple of things I do want to talk about, and then there's a couple of things that I feel like we, got to highlight or anything. But good morning, everybody. Oh, let me get the chat tab up. Good morning, Ghost Dog. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Very glad you are here, and we are grateful you were on the show yesterday. It was such a good time, and we hope to have you back again. And we also hope to have in the future more guest dads. But that's one of the things I always loved about the old podcast. Before shenanigans. But I loved to bring people in that I didn't know or didn't know very well, and just have the conversations like on the fly, real, genuine, authentic conversations, and give people a chance to talk about whatever they're interested in, and, just kind of share experiences. Because, as maybe it's more common in everybody else's life, but I don't interact with people I don't know very much. So I don't have opportunities for discovery conversations very frequently. So that was a great time for me. And we look forward to more Ghost Dog and more guest dads in the future.
I really enjoyed that too. Just being able to talk with everybody from different aspects and whatnot. But how many people do we have watching? 3?
We got a couple.
What people may not know is that there were a lot of shit went on behind the scenes that we kept out of the freaking lot.
Yeah.
I don't
want to.
I'm not going to get into it.
As soon as your lips leak, it's going to get clipped and sent, and then like we're just going to.
I know.
Get hassled. I don't want to get hassled. I say let the dead stay dead.
It was a great idea, and it had a great run. It was just just over.
Yeah. All right.
But I enjoyed it.
So I got some, let's see, we got a trailer to watch today. So here at the top, I'm going to try to give you a highlight of what's going to have in the show. We've got about 45 minutes or so before, we got to cut it short, but we got, unfortunately, some political news. We have some craziness happening over in Japan. I think there's something here happening in Texas. We got some comic book news that we haven't talked about yet. And we got a trailer for something very interesting to watch. So we got a little pop culture. I like to save the pop culture and fun stuff for the end of the show because I like to go out on a high note. That's just my personal preference. And if you guys listening ever come across an interesting story and you think we ought to talk about it, send it in. You can send it to my Twitter. You can, I don't know. You can, there's ways to get a hold of me. You're smart. Figure it out. Okay. All right. So here, let me pull this up, and this will be our first story. And Deacon, let me know if you've heard about this. Roving gang of wild monkeys terrorizing the streets of Japan.
Yes, I saw this particular story, but I have anytime in the past I have come across stories about this type of things about the monkeys in cities over there. I've always read them. I find primates are so fascinating to me.
So this story is on Timcast News. Timcast News is not NewsGuard certified, but it is under review or what have you. But Timcast is great. If you are looking for some place to get actual news instead of all of the opinions mixed in, this is a great place. They do have opinion pieces, but they tag their stuff really well. And Tim Pool is the bomb as far as journalists go, I think. So the number of attacks has doubled over the past week. Local residents are going bananas after a gang of wild monkeys terrorized residents of the Japanese town of Yamaguchi. I believe I said that correctly. 58 people have been attacked since July 8 as monkeys have tried to snatch babies. What? Sneak into nursery schools and bite and claw at people's flesh, according to the Associated Press. They're, quote, they're so smart and they tend to sneak up and attack from behind, often grabbing your legs, city official Masato Saito told the AP. The genius of monkey wreaking havoc on the streets of Japan the genus, which is like the scientific name for the family or whatever. The genus of monkey wreaking havoc on the streets of Japan is the snow macaque.
Yeah.
I did okay with the Japanese name. I can't pronounce whatever this thing is, which is native to the region. A chimp off the old block. Oh my gosh. They are laying in on the puns and the wordplay on this story. Macaque are omnivores and live in troops of various sizes. There are more than 20 species of macaque, even though they are considered highly... Macaque. I told you, I'm having trouble with this. Macaque.
Not macaque.
Not macaque. Macaque. There are more than 20 species of macaque, and though they are considered highly intelligent, they can be bad-tempered as adults. One woman was assaulted while hanging laundry. Another person revealed toes had to be bandaged.
Just like humans, man.
Yeah. So, monkeys in Japan. It's the island of the apes.
Macaques are crazy.
Yeah. So unfortunately in America, we do not exactly have roving bands of monkeys everywhere. There are cute animals on screen, but they are not we don't have to deal with that very much. So anyway, I don't know if you have anything else to say about that, but what a wonderful day to start the show and start the day. And hey, guys, while I change tabs to go to the next story, you scroll your phone and push that like button, get that engagement up, and share this thing out on Twitter. Hey, speaking of Twitter, how's that for a segue? I tweeted this yesterday. This is my Twitter account, JJW, which is actually at Jason_JW. Why isn't that animatronic blinking? That's what I tweeted out yesterday in response to a post by the Democrats, which this one is Adam Baldwin and Ian Miles Strong, but this sourced all the way from the Democrats account. Watch Joe Biden there. He's talking here for, 17 seconds. No blinking. None. It's just, don't get into a staring contest with Joe Biden. It's creepy. This actually made, yeah. This made this little video is circulating quite a bit. I'm pretty sure it's originally posted by the Democrats, but this video came from White House, and it's actually very poorly clipped together. If you watch it, you can see the transitions or whatever, but I guess they didn't think that Joe Biden needed to appear to be human throughout the entire video. So it's a little disturbing to watch. Yeah. If I played the audio, definitely.
I don't want to hear the audio. To be honest,
he sounds like
hard to just watch the clip. I definitely don't want to watch it and listen to it.
Yeah,
Do
pretty
you
creepy.
think, serious question, do
Yeah.
you think he's a lizard person like Mark Zuckerberg?
I don't know about if he's a lizard person. I did tweet out something yesterday where I said maybe it was on a YouTube comment. The president's office is being run by a teleprompter because
Did
he
you
is
see
100%
did,
reading the prompter.
did you see one of the interviews early on when the war started, or it might have been, yeah, I think it was, of Putin, and he was sitting there at the table. It was a side interview coming from his right, so you're seeing him from this side,
Oh, okay, okay.
and he was sitting there holding the table like, I'm trying to get my. He was just he did
Oh,
not
was
move his hands
his hand
for.
all clawed up?
No, he was. It was like he was flexing, and he did not move for the whole interview. Like
Oh.
did not move. His hands, his arms did not move. Like it was a mannequin sitting there the whole time. And
Okay.
they people were kind of talking about it there for a while. I was like, what the crap's going on? Kind of like this not blinking thing. And somebody, the only logical thing that I read was that he has some sort of freaking disease. He has some sort of disorder now or something, and he was having to sit there and hold. I can't remember what they said. Parkinson, I don't know what it is, but he's got something, and that's why he was having to sit there and hold to appear to be, strong and vibrant, and
Yeah.
just like Roosevelt did. They didn't show him in the wheelchair for a long time in history. They did not want him. They didn't want the public to think that he was, and they would make him stand up.
Well, I
They
mean,
would stand up Roosevelt there, and they would never show that wheelchair. And I
yeah,
think it's the same thing.
I
What do you
actually
think?
I believe that Roosevelt refused to be photographed in his chair. He
Yeah,
refused. Yeah, he did not want to project weakness at all. And I'm
right.
not at all surprised that Putin, who
The
obviously
same
is,
thing.
yeah, he's obviously trying to cultivate a project a certain
Yeah, he doesn't want to
powerful
look like.
role.
Yeah, he doesn't want to look like he's invading this country, and then he's weak. He is physically weak.
I mean,
So
just
I
look at it.
don't know.
I zoomed in so you could see his eyes better. I know that might appear to be creepy.
If I look at Joe Biden's eyes, I got to go get my coffee, because if I look into his dreamy eyes too long, it mesmerizes me, and I start
Oh,
I start I
it
start
must
listening and
happen.
following every word that they say.
It must
And
happen to
so,
somebody.
yeah, it happens. I've heard to people,
Oh,
and they will listen and to every word that they say. So I
all
try to
right.
stay away from his mesmerizing eyes. They're so beautiful.
So we're not ahead on this story, but I do want to brag. Our show has been ahead of the news cycle on at least two stories at this point.
Twice.
I mean, like we're doing a great job, and we're not getting all the credit we deserve. So
Where's
I do
my
want to.
Pulitzer?
I know. So we need to, if we're going to be ahead of the popular news cycle, sometimes by 24 hours, then I think we deserve some credit here for carefully curating the news available and presenting it to the public. Okay, so let me unzoom this and let's goodbye, Joe Biden. So the
Bye,
next
Joe.
story. All right, we're gonna get out of this stuff as fast as possible because, like, I just don't. I feel like it's necessary to discuss things like this, but like I don't want to dwell on this stuff. Oh, thank you, Ghost Dog. Appreciate that. So, whistleblower allegations raise prospect the FBI misled Senate's Hunter Biden probe, accuses Ron Johnson. So,
You think?
yeah, surprise, surprise.
This is
So
not news. I thought this was common knowledge.
yeah, Ron Johnson is one of a couple of members of Congress that have been quite critical of the FBI and the Department of Justice, but this Wisconsin senator says FBI can no longer be trusted to investigate Hunter Biden. And apparently, recent revelations from FBI whistleblowers. Let me remind you how important it is, according to California's Democratic Representative Adam Schiff, how important it is that we take whistleblowers seriously. So do not discard this story just because you don't know who it started with. Whistleblowers, very important. So, recent revelation from an FBI whistleblower raises strong prospect that the Bureau engaged in, quote, targeted effort to intentionally undermine the Senate's pre-election probe into Hunter Biden's business deals. Senator Ron Johnson, Republican from Wisconsin, declares in a stinging letter to the nation's top law enforcement officials, quote, unfortunately, the FBI can no longer be trusted to investigate Hunter Biden with integrity and the equal application of law. Johnson said in a letter Tuesday to FBI Director Chris Wray, Attorney General Merrick Garland, and Director of National Intelligence Avril Haines. Yes. Go ahead. Hey, Deacon, take over for a second.
Yeah, all right.
Sometimes my clocks have.
Hang on, I'm going to mute JJ so that. So there we go. I did not actually read the story, so I'm going to pause this right now and go to the chat here real quick because Ghost Dog, who was on yesterday, let me see if I can throw that up there. Ghost Dog. Doing things one-handed is rough, man. How I'm hoping that everything went well for the surgery yesterday. I was thinking about you yesterday. I did not have anything in particular to talk about. I'll let JJ do all the talking, but since he has stepped away, what do you want to talk about this morning? I'll tell you what, in my area, I live close to the St. Louis area. I guess probably about 2.5, 3 hours to the St. Louis area. And they had historic flooding Monday, and it was like 12, 13 inches of rain in like the entire day in some areas. Some areas had like 8, 9 inches of rain that was dumped on them within, a few hours. And some of those areas in St. Louis was completely flooded. It was blowing me away, these areas I've been to, downtown, the Arch and all that area. And I think somebody actually somebody died in the water. They were stuck in their car, and after the waters receded, they found one person that was deceased. So some terrible crazy weather that's been going through our I guess they said all over the world. I saw that the heat wave, we have named a heat wave for the first time. Oh yeah, Zoe is the name of the heat wave. I'm gonna throw up what Ghost Dog. Good at the moment, still numb, but our arm is still numb, but that drug is wearing off. I bet, man. They named that heat wave. So we had the heat wave that went through our area, and I'm sure everywhere else, and it was pretty bad. And then that weather that has gone through, that swath of storm that hit St. Louis, went ahead and went through Illinois. And I don't know, Ghost Dog. Weather, that's what Ghost Dog says. I know that you're over there in Indiana. Did you guys get hit by that crazy swath of storms that came through and dumped all that? JJ, I was just to get you caught up real quick, I was just telling them.
Yeah.
We just had some terrible storms come through our area not too long ago, and north of our area, and St. Louis got hit with one of the worst storms I think ever recorded. Dumped like 12 inches of rain in one day. It was
ouch.
Some of the places in St. Louis were just unbelievably flooded. It was crazy what it looked like in some of these pictures. And they found somebody dead in a car that water had gotten over the car, and they died. And then it went through Illinois, and I don't know if it went through. I guess it had to go through Indiana over there, but yeah, that's been crazy. I'm sure Texas has been. Have y'all been hurt for this water and everything too?
Not yet. I mean, we had a little bit of like drought earlier in the summer, like pretty bad. But it's been raining in the last couple of days, but it has been light yet. But every year, whatever, heavy storms do hit the coast. Usually once a year, and Houston can get really bad flooded. There are 2 reservoirs that are in the northeast of Houston for some reason, and then there's creeks and stuff, and the water will dump into there. It can hold like 5 billion gallons of water, but when it gets full, then nothing stops the water, and the only way for that water to get to the coast is to go through Houston. I guess it would be like this for you, but it has to go through Houston. So Houston has certain places of the city where like underpasses go under bridges and stuff, and there's these signs that are like water markers, and and it'll be like, don't cross if the water's too high. Some of the signs are 20 feet high, and there's been multiple, I mean, scores of incidents, but especially during really bad raining seasons where people are like, I think I can make it through the puddle, and they drive in the water and literally the car is washed away. And during like the storm, probably 3, 4, 5 years ago, there was a young man, sadly, on Facebook, and he was driving and he got caught in the water, and he was streaming on Facebook. He's like, I'm trying to get home. I'm trying to get home. And he did not make it. And sadly, that was the last thing he ever did. So,
and that's what we face that problem around here quite a bit. Probably more than y'all do in Texas, but we have a lot of soggy ground anyway in certain spots, and then when it gets even, when it retain a lot of water, and there is a lot of water around our area. But that is one of the things every year that I have to reiterate on the radio is turn around, don't drown, even though you think that you can drive through it. And a lot of these good old boys around here drive trucks whose tires are as tall as me. All right. Yeah. And that's cool. Yeehaw. Rock and roll. But listen, just because your truck sets up that far and you know that you can make it through that a foot of water, do you understand about erosion and science? And I mean, your heavy truck is going, that has happened before where people have drove through, and all of a sudden in our area, the road gives way, and then we've got 15 people trying to rescue this person.
Yeah. I mean, you better take the weather and Mother Nature seriously. Let's move on. We got okay. So the prior news story is Department of Justice. No, I'm sorry. Ron Johnson says the FBI cannot be trusted to investigate Hunter Biden. And I had another story this morning, but I'm not going to get into it. Apparently, the Department of Justice says that Delaware's attorney doesn't have the resources to investigate the Biden crime family or the Biden crime family accusations. So it appears that nobody can or is willing to do anything to investigate these guys. We'll keep an eye on that.
We need a constable then. We need a constable. We need one person whose job it is. The constable's job is from what I've been told around here, the constable's only job was he can arrest the sheriff. He's the only person that can arrest the sheriff. So he's elected to do that. So we just need somebody that can prosecute these people.
If their roles were reversed, if it was Trump and the presidency, there would probably be like 3 independent star investigators.
There would be 300. Good God.
So, I don't know. So yesterday, this is gonna be short, but this story came into my feed yesterday.
If any of the Trump children would have had a smidgen of crap that Hunter Biden supposedly had, oh my God! In 2150, they would still be talking about that shit.
Yeah. Well, innocent until proven guilty, right? And
allegedly,
and they are going to do everything they can to not prove anything. They're just going to it's very confusing. We can't afford the resources. Blah, 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 blah. All right. So anyway, guess what? Politicians are corrupt, top to bottom, left to right. They are all bad. This is from Just the News, which is NewsGuard certified. 2 more Texas counties declare invasion at the southern border. Parker County and Atascosa County. I don't know how to say that one. Atascosa County become the 7th and 8th Texas counties to make that declaration. So, maybe you might be inclined to say, oh, okay, well, it's just people at the southern border or whatever, where hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of immigrants come through. Parker County and Atascosa County became 7th and 8th counties in Texas on Monday to declare an invasion 2 weeks after 6 counties and 1 city declared the invasion on July 5th. Parker County Commissioner Court unanimously voted to invoke Article 1, Section 10 to declare Texas and the United States under invasion. Atascosa County Commissioners Court also expressed their support for declaring an invasion, and Judge Russell Wilson signed a disaster declaration affirming an invasion at the southern border. The court must vote the court must next vote to approve his declaration, which it's likely to do. They joined Kinney, Edwards, Goliad, Terrell, Presidio, Maverick counties, all of which have declared an invasion. And these are some of these places are places where you may have seen underpasses crowded with like tens of thousands of people, right? I mean,
Yeah.
And they're like, this is a real serious thing. And the thing about this that's interesting is that if we have these, I don't know exactly what the process is here, but we have all of these counties declaring an invasion. At some point, does it rise up to the point where it goes to the governor or goes to the Texas Supreme Court? And if the Texas Supreme Court or the governor declares an invasion, again, I don't know exactly how an invasion declaration works. At some point, it might be that the state of Texas declares an invasion. And, then, maybe the federal government has to take things a little more seriously. So as of right now, we've already seen that. We talked a couple of days ago, the governor of Texas and Arizona are transporting illegal immigrants willingly from Texas to Washington, D.C., and then they are overwhelming the D.C. Homeless shelter networks. And then they're being rerouted to New York, and Deacon's got to get on the air. And some of them are getting rerouted to Miami. So, the system is under stress and strain, and this is something to just keep an eye on. But Texas counties are declaring an invasion. I don't know what we're going to do about that. All right, so I was looking for this story about Mike Barron, but I haven't got it yet. So I did want to we'll shift gears here and go to pop culture news, comic book news. So DC announced at San Diego Comic-Con a couple days ago, they revealed the Death of Superman 30th anniversary special, which will introduce a new villain, Doombreaker. So if you are a fellow middle-aged comic book nerd like myself, you may in fact remember way back in 1992, I think, the Death of Superman comic book event that pitted Superman against this new character, Doomsday, and they fought to a standstill and punched each other so hard that they both died. And some of the variant issues of Superman were bagged in a plastic bag, black plastic bag from the shop, inside of which there was actually a Superman like armband that you could open the comic, read the comic, and then actually wear an armband, in memoriam of the passing of
they sold the black bags, and then they sell a white bag, but then they sold one that you could read. I think the one that I bought that I read was from the newsstand, the ones that have the UPC symbol.
Right.
The ones that I bought from the store were the ones in the bags, and I thought to myself, this is going to be worth a lot of money one day.
I actually have one in the other room. I saw it just a couple of days ago.
You
and
can
I should have
sell
brought
it
in
for a whopping $11.49.
Man, mine is all raggedy. It's got the cover barely attached.
Then that's probably $6. You got a $6 investment there, buddy.
This was maybe the pinnacle, or approaching the pinnacle of the investor market. Maybe it may have actually been the
you are exactly right.
Of the investor market, where in the 1990s, it went from being like kids just buy comics and, you had some collectors, to like, here's a major event. And a lot of people who are not into comics viewed this as as a speculator opportunity where they could buy up this special thing. Superman died and they could save it for a few years and make thousands of dollars. No, they printed like 50 million copies of this thing.
They sold 6 million copies. DC needed something bad at that time, because at that time in the 90s, LaFeld was a young artist and he was on that damn Levi's commercial. And that Levi's commercial, I'm sorry, if you weren't alive during that time, you don't know. That Levi's commercial was on everywhere.
Oh, yes, it was.
You saw Rob Liefeld in that damn commercial everywhere. And that honestly was a humongous move for Marvel. Getting this young talent in there and pushing that was such a huge move. That Levi's commercial sold comic books. I will go to my grave arguing that with anyone. It sold millions of comic books, and it made people like Todd McFarlane and Jim Lee and Rob Liefeld, they made them, you know? And so DC at the time was like flipping the crap out. You know, they had been coming off of, I guess,
Identity Crisis,
Dark Knight, and I mean, they had some real Killing Joke. When was that?
Oh, that was in that era, and I think it was that was the one where the gimmick was they let the readers vote on whether Robin would be killed or not, and they thought DC thought the readers would save Robin. No, they voted to kill Robin, so DC had to go back and like change the book real quick because they anticipated people would vote to save Robin, and instead that was not what happened.
But DC needed something, so that death of Superman was a pretty huge deal. I can remember seeing that page with Doomsday in his body. I remember seeing that for the first time, and I wasn't even a DC reader, but that just like you're like, whoa. But as a comic book reader, JJ, does the death of anyone really bother you at all?
I mean, I was probably like, let me think about how old I was. It was I kind of in math. I think I was 14 at the time in 1982. And even at the time, I was like, they're not going to kill Superman. This is nonsense. Why are you guys getting so worked up about this? Like, they'll kill him, but he's not going to stay dead. This is how they sell comics. Why would they kill off the character they're selling the comics about? So.
And then what did they do? You remember what they did? The 4 different Supermen came back and took his place. Remember? There for a little while. I didn't read it, but I just remember there was a metal one, a robot one. Did you read any of that?
Okay, so after the funeral service of Superman, there was they had a couple of series, one of which was The Reign of the Supermen, where they had a robot Superman, and they had this new character Steel, which I can't remember his name. It's something Irons, and they had a semi-clone of Superman, I think it was, and it was like a Superboy type character, and they had one that was like an alien or something, and it kind of like visually looked like him, but it was, I don't know, some of these characters were evil or something like that, and the whole event was like, which of these characters, they introduced all of these characters, but which one was going to take up the mantle of Superman? And they ran with that for like 6 months or a year. And then they had Superman come back, and the story of him coming back, they had Superman split into 2 parts, a red Superman and a blue Superman. And they put red and blue Superman into this weird looking like costume. So, but here he is. So it's the 30th anniversary of the thing that really started the speculator market, which is the thing that destroyed comics in the 1990s. So, anyway, it's the anniversary of maybe the worst thing to ever happen to comics. I don't know. But they're going to have a new like thing, and they're going to have a Doom Breaker thing or whatever. DC needs something, I guess, to get some publishing traction. DC Comics publishing is actually in real trouble. Now owned by Warner Brothers, which is owned by Discovery. They are not making money. They had to close their offices, and I think it's in California somewhere. They had to close their offices because they couldn't either afford the rent or keep the revenues up or whatever. DC Publishing is in real trouble, and if they can't sell books and stay profitable, Warner Brothers, Warner Brothers uses them to farm intellectual property. Discovery probably just wants that division to be profitable.
My clock just turned off again.
Okay, so hang on just a second. And Deacon, here's another comic story. Todd McFarlane is to return to DC Comics with Batman and Spawn crossover. Did you ever read this? And I'm going to be off mic for just a sec.
Yeah, you go off mic, and let me pull this up, and I'll see this. But no, I was a Todd McFarlane fan from the Marvel days when he was doing Spider-Man. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, and I may be mistaken on this, I think one of the last books he did for Marvel, one of the last, if not the last, that might have been one of the last, was a Spider-Man X-Force crossover book that was from issue 4. It's right up there at the very beginning because McFarlane draws a pretty badass Cable, and he's got his classic Spider-Man, but he draws a Juggernaut. It's the issue where Juggernaut faces off against X-Force right at the beginning and kind of whoops their butt. But McFarlane draws this pretty awesome looking Juggernaut, and a lot of people might not like his work. I don't know, I haven't seen a lot of his work now years later, but we're talking, this is 20 years ago, his work. And of course, artwork changes, people change, but his work was it had more cartoony feel, you know what I mean? And I like it, but it was not as refined, and I hate to use the word realistic, but you know how some, like Jim Lee's artwork was a lot more realistic than McFarlane's had the edge of cartoony to it. So I always liked the way he drew Spawn. I read Spawn a little bit when they went over to Image. That was during my heyday, and I tried to read that a little bit.
Yeah.
But Spawn really, it was a cool concept, but it just wasn't my job. And I appreciate it, and I like the people that are like, oh, Spawn rocks. And I'm like, you're right, Spawn rocks. It just wasn't my cup of tea, man.
So I remember actually purchasing the Batman Spawn crossover event way back in '94. I don't have it anymore.
I didn't know that it did that in '94. That's news to me.
Yeah. So in 1994, they did this. It was Frank Miller and doing. I think it was Frank Miller that did the bat. Let me see.
I look it up.
Yeah. It was Frank Miller. So way back at the beginning of Spawn,
'94. Yeah.
Todd McFarlane actually did a bunch of deals with major creators. So there were issues of Spawn where there was one issue where Dave Sim, the a writer and artist of Cerebus, which may not mean a lot to you, but this was a big deal back then because Cerebus was the longest running creator owned comic, only published, only illustrated, whatever, by Dave Sim. It was up at close to 300 issues way back then. And for Dave Sim came over and did like an issue where I think Cerebus was in Spawn, but
Cerebus, not only the art bark.
Yeah. But not only Dave Sim, Alan, it's not Alan Grant. Oh my gosh, I'm having a brain fart here. Alan Moore and Neil Gaiman both did issues of Spawn in the early. I mean, we'll say the less than 30 issues or whatever. The Alan Moore issue of Spawn was quite popular. I think that featured Cagliostro. He might have even introduced Cagliostro. I don't remember. Cagliostro is this kind of old wizard character in the early issues, and then Neil Gaiman. I believe it's one of those two. It's either Neil Gaiman or it's Alan Moore introduced the character Angela.
Neil. Yeah,
that was
Neil. It was Neil. Yeah,
and that issue they had some sort of an agreement, but then that turned into a court issue because I guess Todd wasn't giving Neil enough cash, enough equity in the character, and it was a super popular character.
I've always said Gaiman, and I think it's Gaiman, but I think you're right. But I've always been a huge fan of his for, oh my God, it's been like 30 years now. I mean, I can't remember, I read Neverwhere in the 90s.
Oh my gosh, man, I got Neverwhere on my bookshelf over there.
It's so awesome. And I read American Gods when it came out. I read all of his. I love Neil Gaiman, but he and so when he was in the comics and doing that stuff in the comics, I felt like this. I don't know. I guess I kind of still feel that way about him today because I've known about him and I've loved him for so long that when he came over to comics and started doing comics, I was just like, oh, that's my best friend, Neil. I know him. You know, you kind of feel like, I know this guy. I'm friends with him.
Yeah, and then he wrote like the milestone series Sandman and Neil Gaiman and Todd McFarlane, after they launched this Angela character in Spawn, she was incredibly popular.
Coraline is a Neil book. And people might not realize that. My kids didn't realize. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but that cartoon Coraline, and a lot of kids are like, "Oh, I like that." That's a Neil Gaiman book.
Oh, so they had the thing. I'm just going to cover this real quick. This was now many years ago. They had a subsequent to their co-publication of Angela in Spawn, and she was a recurring character quite a bit. And I guess Todd wasn't giving Neil enough money or whatever. They went to court, and they went to court over the property rights of the character and who owns it, whatever. And Neil acquired the entire rights to the character Angela. And then as a kind of big fat middle finger to Todd McFarlane and the way he was doing deals or whatever. And it's not, I'm not making any sort of judgment about that. He was probably making deals that were in the best interest of his company or whatever. Maybe he was making back and napkin deals or something. I don't know. But Neil Gaiman said got the rights. And then he was like, I don't even want this character. And he sold it to Marvel. And then Marvel took that character Angela, and now you've seen her in Contest of Champions game, and she was in the Guardians of the Galaxy books and a few other things. So,
and she's wearing the same outfit in Marvel as her first appearance in Image.
That's exactly correct. Yes. So anyway, for folks that didn't know that, Jim Rugg and Ed. I can't remember them. They have this podcast on YouTube, and they talk quite extensively about the Neil Gaiman Todd McFarlane court case in a couple of episodes. So you should go check that out. I'll try to remember the name of the podcast here in a minute. It's a big podcast, big show. So that is Todd McFarlane. We got like 10 minutes left, and obviously my kids keep interrupting.
That's all right, man.
Trying to wake up here.
That's all right.
So let's go through this real quick. Prime Video releases the first trailer for Sylvester Stallone's vigilante superhero flick Samaritan. Whoa, let's check this out. This looks I'm a superhero. I'm a superhero. I'm trying to do stuff. Here we go. There's lots of movie. Oh, wait. I need sound.
Are you going to get copyright stricken for this? Is YouTube going to get mad at us for showing a freaking trailer again?
Odds are not zero. Let me change. Let me switch this to the tab so that you can hear. I think it's this one. Share.
So yeah, if you really want to watch this trailer without two white guys talking over it, then
it's going to be the greatest thing you ever seen in your life. It's going to be such a good movie. That's a good one. Here we go. Let's start the show.
Wait up. What are you doing with all this junk? Keeps me busy.
So Sly's a garbage man. All right.
Night of crime and violence.
He's aged well, man.
I mean, he's like 70-something years old. He's jacked.
Look at him, though.
Still.
He looks like a badass.
Yeah.
I think we're finished here. Go on, beat it.
He looks awesomer now than he did in Rocky, dude.
I found him.
Yeah, I know.
He looks like Cable. He should play Cable.
Died 25 years ago.
He should play Cable.
You think so?
Look at
You
him.
think you live across from a
He's a big
superhero?
dude.
Do you have a therapist?
I know you.
He'd be awesome as Cable. He'd be awesome as Cable.
You've already got jacked Josh Brolin as Cable.
Josh Brolin is fun, and he's a perfect Cable, and that's what is great about Cable is that he's a freaking time traveler, man. I mean, you can go back and tell the story. He looks good.
All right,
Sly looks good.
So I like this. This is a cool logo for Samaritan, right? First of all, pretty cool name. That's I don't know how that wasn't already.
Is this a comic?
grabbed.
I know I started to say I thought Samaritan
I honestly don't know. I haven't read much into it, so maybe I'll go back to the story in a second. But I just wanted. I mean, first of all, I love Stallone. That guy's amazing. So I would be surprised if it was a comic, though.
Okay, so yeah, it is. It's Samaritan is. Oh, jeez. Samaritan is a member of the Honor Guard and a patron superhero in Astro City.
Oh, this is a Kurt Busiek thing. Interesting.
Okay.
All right. Nice.
Kid. Samaritan's dead. I pick up garbage for a living, pal.
Samaritan cleaned up the streets.
You mind your business, I'll mind mine.
I don't believe
So,
you!
okay. All right. So is...
Oh.
Are you okay?
He's a time traveler, it says in the comics.
So far, so good. I think it looks great. His body is like, oh, I gotta fix myself.
Is that the freaking kid from the Umbrella Academy 3rd season that posed as Diego's son?
I'm not sure. I haven't seen Umbrella Academy since the 1st season.
Oh, okay. So yeah, this kid was really good in several episodes, man. And I think that's the same boy. Yeah.
Maybe we
he was really good. Yeah, because I was impressed with his little. He didn't have a lot of acting, but I was like, I like this kid.
Let me get an IMDb name check on Samaritan here, but so far it's looking good.
It says Samaritan Astro City was an extremely powerful hero and time traveler. He appeared in this area in '85. Current member of the Honor Guard, sometimes referred to as Big Red. Samaritan is the first hero in the series to receive an origin story. So maybe this is what did Astro City come out on?
Oh, Astro City has been out since the 90s. It was after Image, right? But it was
that was when I left.
It was in that era.
This is why I don't.
It was kind of it was for at least for the early issues. It was all Kurt Busiek doing the
Homage. Comics, Wildstorm, Vertigo.
Alex Ross did all the covers.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. I was like, that's Alex Ross cover, man. I know his artwork. Anybody should be able to recognize his artwork.
He might have done interiors, which I don't know if he did or not. He didn't paint interiors. If he did interiors, wow. But man. that was a big another kind of big milestone.
Yeah, that Marvels book, man, was one of those books that you just. You haven't read Marvels in a while. You need to go back, and we just need to go back and read it again, just because it was so beautiful.
Well, one of these days we're gonna just actually flip through comics, maybe. I don't know. So here, let's just finish this trailer.
How strong are you?
Not as strong as I once was.
It's the same kid.
When you stop caring, and I stopped caring a long time ago.
So there's your bad guy.
For some people, it's too late to change the damage.
Yeah, he looks great, man. Don't Sly look great.
I don't know about that suit.
That guy's the bad guy.
Yeah.
Really?
The Confessor, maybe?
The things you bury tend to haunt you.
Why did you disappear?
It's like a good daddy. Yeah, I'm down to watch Superhero Stallone. I'm totally in for that. Oh my God, we're not done yet. In 30 seconds.
Try this.
That was dope.
Awesome.
That was amazing.
That was pretty awesome.
That. He jumped over a car, grabbed the car, and flip it over at the same time. I love that. That is awesome.
There's a.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, so yeah, I was reading some of the bad people's names, so the bad guys' names in this. These are heroes. Is that a hero? Oh my God, there's a hero called Jack in the Box. a clown-themed vigilante with no known powers, but agility and an arsenal of the arsenal of a clown and toy-inspired weaponry. Oh my lord!
I'm gonna pull up some Astro. I did not know that was related to Astro City. That's amazing.
That bad guy must be Birdwell.
So these are covers from Astro City. This is
there's a bad guy called the Deacon.
So I mean, Alex Ross painted.
I don't see a cover. All I see is green.
Oh, what do you mean you see green? It's on screen. I could see it on screen. I could see it on my screen. I could see it on that screen. What do you mean you don't see it?
Oh, I can see it on my phone, but I can't see it on my phone. Okay, I see it.
Okay, so so this is the source material for Samaritan, I suppose, and Alex Ross, legendary comic painter, he did all of the covers. It seems like he's still doing the covers for Astro City, but I'm pretty sure he did some interiors on an early run. So this was so many of these were published back on the Vertigo banner. DC's Vertigo line, way back. That's the we lost the Deacon computer.
Yeah,
DC's Vertigo line, way back in the day, published some really interesting stuff. They published Sandman. They published Why the Last Man. They published
Why the Last Man was good.
Yeah, they published The Changing Man. I forget what the name of it. I bought a whole bunch of The Changing Man, which was a really interesting. I thought it was a really psychedelic comic way back in the day, and so they were doing like super avant-garde, like edgy stuff, even like adult kind of content back in the era when Marvel, DC were still pandering to 14-year-olds, So, which isn't the case anymore. I don't know who they pander to now. But Alex Ross, so Samaritan, this is going to be a great little movie. I guess it's a movie on Amazon Prime coming at the end of the month. Oh boy, I don't know how I'm going to watch it. I haven't had Prime for the last month or two, so we'll figure it out. Maybe you'll watch it and you tell us how good it is.
Yeah, I'll watch it.
All right. I think that's all I got for now. I believe, but I can't find the source for it. But I believe that Mike Barron is one of the essential writers of the character Punisher, and he has a crowdfunding campaign going on, which is Thin Blue Line. I think he's going to launch another one. But I believe that he also did a book called Florida Man, which was a very successful crowdfunded comic. As of yesterday, this is now in comic book stores too. So this is a title that you could originally kind of only pick up on like Indiegogo. But if you are in the neighborhood of a comic book store and you want to support independent creators, check out Florida Man. Let me pull the campaign for Florida Man up. And it is exactly what you would expect out of a comic book about Florida Man. There's some wild and absurd stuff happening in this book, Florida Man. Let's see, here it is. So I'm always a strong advocate of supporting independent artists, and Mike Barron is an important figure in comic books. So there is Florida Man riding an alligator or a crocodile. I don't know which kind it is. And here is apparently people in a swamp. I mean, this says Florida to me. In an airboat on a swamp, hunting an alligator with a bow.
I would read that.
You should read this. You should go to the comic book store if you can and order it, or I guess you might be able to still get it from. Yeah, you can. No, you cannot. It's all sold out. So let's see. But this is one of that's on my list. See, I have a list of books that like, I get this and get this, and and I have to allocate whatever money I've got for this. But this is not quite at the top of my list, but it's on. I mean, that's scandalous. Actually, I think my wife will not approve of me buying a book like that. But anyway, go check out Florida Man. Check out Samaritan. Send us news if you got anything, guys. That's all I've got for today. Good morning. Anything from you, Deacon? Anything? Any last notes? Well,
I'm good, man. I've gotten busy here at work for a little bit, so I apologize. And then my camera stopped working for some reason, so I don't.
That's all right. So that is Deacon. I am JJ, and we are your two dads. Thanks for watching, everybody. We are appreciate you showing up and showing out and sharing the show. Like, subscribe, comment, all of that stuff. And we'll see you tomorrow. Hey, that's the wrong banner. That's my Let's Draw banner. This whole time I had the wrong. This, dude. If you notice things, you got to tell me, man.
Hey, we're promoting you.
All right, say bye, Joe.
Bye, Deacon.
Bye.